everyone, we're going to solve for x using the given information and explain our steps. And we're doing these 4 problems here. So, for the first one, number 5, it's stated that the measure of angle W here is congruent to the measure of, or just to angle Z. These two are congruent. So, by definition of congruent angles, we're going to set them equal to each other. So we have 11x minus 8 equals 9x plus 4. And we're going to subtract 9x through the subtraction property of equality. And we're going to add 8 to both sides from the addition property of equality. That gives us 2x. That's your zero property equals 12. So x equals 6. And all we're doing is solving for 6. If you want, or solving for x. If you want to plug it back in, you would see that they're the same. So for that one, that's the definition of congruent angles. So we set each of the angles equal to each other. So for number 6, we have this statement here, and we have FG and JH. So it's saying that FG is congruent to FJ. So FG is here, line segment, and line segment FJ. So these two are the same. And FJ is also congruent to JH. Now this is the transitive property, and where we can say that FG is congruent to JH, line segment JH. So what you can do is, just since they're congruent, like we did on number 5, set them equal to each other. But the reason we could do that is through the transitive property of equality. So, and then we just solve for x. And then we use our subtraction property of equality and our addition property of each equality to solve for x. And simplify, you get 2x equals 6. Use your division property, and you get x equals 3. You can always plug in 3 and check your answer. If we did that, we get 5 times 3 minus 7. Does that equal 3 times 3 minus 1? So this is 15 minus 7 is 8, and 9 minus 1 is 8. So that checks out. Okay, the next one we're going to solve for is this one. So we have ABD is congruent to DBE. So these are the same. And also EBC is congruent to DBE. So that's the transitive property. That means I can set these two, ABD, is congruent to EBC. That's through the transitive property. So now we just have to set them equal to each other. 14x minus 10 equals 11x plus 5. And that's by your congruence, definition of congruence, that they're equal. And then we subtract 11x from both sides of the equation and add 10. And that helps us isolate our x. So that's 3x equals 15. Therefore, x equals 5. And the last one is this one. So let's see what it says. KP right here is congruent to PN. So these two are congruent. So this is 7x minus 10. And this is also 7x minus 10 because they're congruent. That's definition of congruency. And the lengths of the segments are also congruent by congruent segments. So we just have to set the lengths equal to find x. But we already know that KP is 18. So we can just set this to 18. So we set 7x minus 10 equals 18. Add 10 through your addition property of equality. So you get 7x equals 28. Use your division property of equality by dividing. Therefore, you get x equals 4. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.